Well, good morning, friends. And there are so many learned people here. And as Hari said, I'm also a student in the industry and for this space. And while I was sitting there, I just thought of one thing, whether Nimesh did the right thing by slotting the trainers and the training providers as the first session, because I see so much silence and so much, there's so many problems we are all sitting on. Whereas, all I want to say is that, at NIIT and even otherwise, I personally handled so many B2C businesses. And if you really ask me, I think this is one of the easiest B2C business. So fine, I mean, my friends may agree or may not agree. I think we have a problem, only two, I think. So on that note, keeping interest in, time in mind, and I'll quickly go through. There are a few slides, I'll go very fast, which are more about NIIT, but I think it's important to just share that as NIIT, why how we see this business, how we've graduated over the years, and how we plan to go about it, a bit about our revenue models, and a bit about our challenges and how we think about it. NIIT, I think we established in 1981, and mission was very simple: bringing people and computers together successfully. We started this training business in computers. Today we are seeing that highest aspirational is IT. So if something we started much before when even the market was not created. Today, I mean, the kind of sectors that all we want to come in, I think there is with the help of media, even the consumers are far more educated. There are far more, I think they know about the whole thing. The only problem is perhaps there are too many opportunities for them, and the students or at that young age, they don't really know what is good for me. And that's where I think the pre-assessment counseling and a lot of things that you're talking about. So moving ahead, we call it, we did our journey into the global talent development, and we very simply looked at the global opportunity set in terms of globalization, work mobility, demographics, service-led economy, and put our core competency behind it, worked over the years, and try and, the basic heart of our model is that we impart knowledge and skills to develop these personalities so that ultimately the student can achieve their maximum potential. So that's what is the model that we work on. And there are multiple places where we impact the consumer, be it in individuals, schools, government, and corporates. A quick journey roadmap, essentially in computers, but a lot of experiments, if you see over the last 5-6 years, we've done in non-IT sectors. And we were continuously try to figure out as to what works in the, the services economy, what works in the service space. And by design, about 3 to 4 years ago, we decided that out of all the sectors, perhaps where we will focus on initially in the phase 1 will be the service sectors. And that's how these, the experiments were done in multiple models, be it in the financial space in 2006, or some management education, or some BPOs, or some basic English plus. If you see, it's a complete varied range. And the whole idea was that do test pilots and run it in different models. So if there was one model working closely with ICICI Bank, only in, this in banking, there was another one partnering with Genpact with BPO on the other end. There was a third one which was, NIT English Plus going to the absolute smaller, areas. Then we also tried through our foundation all the slum areas. So we've tried to gain, done a lot of experiment over the 4-5 years, and then try to arrive at, something. And finally, we said the service sector space that we talk about, we've put up this company last year, and it was the latter half of the last year as NIT Yuva Jyoti, and our mission is Skills for Jobs. So New Horizons, expanding the reach and impact. This is what I was talking about, and we partnered with NSDC, and it's a huge learning experience, and we are very excited about it and the way we want to take it forward. And I think we can see a clear example. I mean, the government right from the day one is trying to support something big. So idea is that partner together and make good for the country. And objective is to transform over 7 million unskilled youth and to make them readily employable professionals over the next 10 years. Key focus here is 9 service sectors to start with, as I said: retail, BFSI, IT, ITS, education, informal, hospitality, telecom, media, entertainment, and healthcare. This is our agenda to start with, and we are looking at huge, the capacity building, as some of my colleagues were talking about. yes, there is a huge challenge. So we are looking at that, whatever it is, and if we've joined hands and NSDC and the government has been kind, we should also try and sort of set up the infra side by side while looking at our models and the revenue. And the target audience, we have I've heard various terms: bottom of the pyramid, base of the pyramid. But I think as far as we look at it, we call it the larger section of the pyramid. And our focus is clearly the middle and low income households, and that's the kind of target audience that we have. And essential focus is on undergrads. So that's perhaps, as I was hearing a couple of colleagues, perhaps the difficult part of the whole journey. Now, business model to achieve scales in a nutshell, essentially B2C, as I said, it's a student fee driven model. Now, how do we really make it successful? And it cannot be made successful, I think, which is very clearly people have talked about, without the stakeholder support, be it in B2G, B2B, or a partnership, and various things that we are essentially trying to put together and make it successful. And these are the, we talk about our 7 pillars, that if we address this well in this model, business model, then only perhaps we will be able to achieve our business target and the scale and essentially meet the objective. And we call it, it's essentially a profit-making social business model. That's how we positioned, and that's how we made it. And we plan to impact the larger section of society through this model. Various challenges and things people have talked about. Yes, trainers is also an issue. Industry employment linkage, technology intervention, unique pedagogy. We need to make a combination of all this, what we've learned over the years, and then put it together to this business to make a much larger impact. Success mantras, yes, still evolving, very early days, and the benefit for us to come in this kind of journey through this particular shape of NIT Yuva Jyoti will be there. We may be a relatively late entrant in this form, but I think we also need to then, the responsibility is on us, onus is on us to learn from so many experiences around the table and from different industry, and then how do we turn it around better. Key stakeholders, I think very, very clearly identified: government, industries. I put industries, essentially the corporate we talk about, and students, and also the society. I think somewhere that's the only new dimension I want to add, that it's not only the students or corporate and government, the society element is also there. I mean, ultimately, the whole social setup, the families also gain from that, the group and the community start gaining from that, and the entire area starts gaining from that. So perhaps they can also help us in multiple ways. And who should pay and support, as that's the question, and we're trying to find various answers. Some of the answers are already there. Essentially, 2 key challenges that we see: capital in terms of financial stability and sustainability. That is what we've been talking about in the earlier session. And second is the mobilization. Consistent revenue source has to be only mobilization, and which is the learners. We crack these 2, I think most of the other issues. Yes, there are operating level challenges. I will not say that, like Varun was saying, batch formation and this, but I think if we address these 2 large challenges, at least then the business becomes scalable, and those are operational issues where we definitely find. Well, capital also, a lot of people have talked about in subsequent sessions, people are talking about, so I'll not take time. I think mobilization, this is why I say it is a marketing issue, is I think we need to be very, very clearly see how do we go about it. If the consumer is not really aware, if the acceptance in the social system is not there, and we go on and doing tom, please come, I'll make it faster, I'll make it this, and I'll get you a job, will it really work? So I think if we go little systematically and go step by step, ultimately that's why I say that by the time we've done the awareness together, by the time we've done the acceptance together by aligning the ecosystem, then perhaps, and affordability, yes, I've been looking at an Indian scale, there is a huge market there in terms of like 78, we're talking about LWPs or BPL families. That also needs to be addressed. Once we do it, I'm sure then we'll be able to go about it. Quickly, what our thinking is that in terms of capital, government in terms of infra, soft funding, policy formulation, people have talked about it, and I'll not spend too much time there. There's the society, community, local bodies that I was talking about, they can also help us in reach, efficiencies, partnerships, and they have a major role to play. And if we take them along with us, then perhaps the journey will be much more simpler and easier for us. In terms of mobilization, I think, yes, when we talk about government side, I think increase awareness also. So government job is not only to give funding, as we feel. I think in multiple ways, even through all these 3 stages, they can help us. Society can help us, and the industry also can help us through all these 3 stages as we proceed. So increase awareness when we talk about corporate, and they can also do a lot of sponsor seminars, and they can do jointly. Some of them, they are doing it, but I think if we do it at a much larger scale and synergize better, then the impact will be far more, which is not there today. In terms of building acceptance, policy formation, NVQF, which has already come in, but the implementation of that has to be done with full spirit. Society, yes, in terms of building social acceptance and encourage youth. I think there are a lot of students who come to our centers, they take the jobs, they feel very happy about it, but after 4 or 5 days when they go back and they talk about the jobs, it's perhaps the peer group or the families start saying that what the hell are you doing? I mean, sort of, we've not brought you for doing this kind of a job. And that is what is the discouragement. Otherwise, as far as youth is concerned, consumer, they are quite open, they're ready to, try out a lot of things, and they are eager to learn and eager to do something in life, and their aspiration levels are definitely high. And then industry, in terms of hiring of only skill certified, yes, we will reach there, but I think the journey has to start, which has not really started. I think some of my colleagues were talking about that the MBA being hired for 10,000, 12,000, also many graduates available. So why does one really have to focus on the skill certified programs? And then in terms of enhanced affordability, only 2 things. I mean, the governments in subsequent session, you'll hear more. So I'll just focus on what society or industry, can talk about it. 1 or 2 colleagues, I think Murli or Shantanu talked about it, which was in terms of sponsorship and also through retention bonus that it should happen. And I think these are the ways that we can, in terms of solving the affordability problem, that can definitely come in. Similarly, we have tried out with a couple of industries, and I think the first model is already we have seen. The industry is aligned to do that, which is that initially they will sponsor partially or full and recover money through salaries. So it is doable. It's just that we need to engage with them better and then go about it. Similarly, in terms of society, if you look at sponsorship, which is, I would say, or scholarship, the way we put it together, because till the time we don't make students pay, the learning doesn't really come free. And what we feel is that we've tried this very small experiment, but we have seen some success in the sense, if you look at the second option, which is sponsoring of 1 new candidate by the beneficiary post getting their 2nd month salary. I mean, we have seen these young students, and we say that, the salary is a problem, but their commitment to the social cause of their own peer group and their community is absolutely amazing. We just need to show them, and we just need to, counsel them in that path, and they're also ready to do. And especially once he's become a beneficiary, he or she, they definitely then, they want to talk about it much better. So let's enjoy the journey, and that's all I would say, and drive the skills revolution together. Thank you.